Welcome back, guys. Our next guest is one of the most influential people in history. His name is Karl Marx. He's a German philosopher from the 19th century, and he wrote a book that you might have heard of, the Communist Manifesto. Mr. Marx, thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you for having me on the program today.
You're very welcome, sir. It's an honor to speak with someone whose influence is still around after over 100 years. So let's get started here. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Trier, Prussia in 1818, I believe.
What was your home life like?
I was one of 9 children. My mother and father were both Jewish, yet my father later became what they call Christian. When I became able to think for myself, I rejected both of these religions. I determined religion is but opium of the people, a way to numb the pain of the world we live in.
Very interesting. So, where were you educated at?
I began my higher education at Bonn University. My father wanted me to study law. I was not very interested in that, however. I spent most of the time drinking the time away and simply acquiring more debt. My father noticed this and he pulled me out and put me in the University of Berlin. This is where I was able to study the ideas that were interesting to me. I was able to get my doctoral degree there.
Now, this is where you were introduced to the ideas of Hegel, correct?
Yes, my studies of Hegel helped influence the views of the Manifesto. See, he viewed history as a process that will eventually end in the perfect freedom of man. The events of this world are all part of the march toward freedom, truth, and reason.
So, what else influenced your views and ultimately led to your views on communism?
Well, it was the times we lived in, you see. Our capitalistic society was simply a new coat of paint on the feudal practices of the Dark Ages. The working class kept getting poorer, the hours were long, work was hard, and they made very little, while the capitalists kept getting richer off of the hardship of the lower class. There had to be a better way.
So, what is this better way?
Communism. It is the only way we can be truly equal.
Yes, now, let's turn our attention to the book itself, the Communist Manifesto. You co-wrote this with your colleague Engels, correct? When did you two meet?
I met Engels when I moved to Paris in the probably about 1840s or so. That's where I met him. We worked a few essays together before we wrote the manifesto.
So, this text might just be one of the most influential texts in Western civilization. There's even a whole school of thought called Marxism after your name today. Now, when you two co-wrote this, did you ever imagine it would be this big?
Rick, yeah, this is what we hoped for. We are calling for the revolution. We wanted to spread our message to everyone and tell them that we were all around.
So you say communism is the answer, but look at what has resulted from communism in our modern world. The Soviet Union was founded on your principles which were studied by Lenin, and look at the failure that ensued. The USSR fell deeply behind technologically, their people were repressed, and they suffered a complete economic collapse.
No! This cannot be used as an example because of what the Soviet Union is a totalitarian government. It is not the vision in the Communist Manifesto. It was corrupted by the power and greed.
Well, some critics argue against the anti-democratic nature of your philosophy. What do you have to say to the people who fear having their voices taken away?
You listen here, you filthy American. You can bite me. I have always stated that communism will only work in the politically stable areas. Second, where are your voices now? Though you control your government or do the capitalists, the banks, the owners of the big business?
All right, very strong views. I like that. So let's start wrapping things up. Would you change anything in the book now that you know its effects?
Communism is an unstoppable force of history. Whether we wrote the book or not, the idea is still there. It was inevitable.
If it was such an inevitable force, then is the book even necessary?
Yes. We were trying to enlighten everyone on the ideas of the communism and its context in history. The working class had had enough, and the revolution was needed. We wanted to start the revolution then, and that is why it was needed.
So, today, in our modern history, is communism still the answer?
Yes, it is the only way we can truly have equality. And until it is put into practice and is tried in our society and fails, I would always consider it the answer. Come at me, bro.
Well, Mr. Marks, you've been an excellent guest today. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk with us here, all right?